welcome to Visionary Ventures. I'm your host, Curtis Jenkins, and this is a conversation about realizing your vision. Every episode, I sit down with someone else who has succeeded in achieving their vision. Today, I am sitting down with Michel Falcon. Michel Falcon is an entrepreneur, advisor, author, and international keynote speaker who leverages customer experience, employee engagement, and company culture strategies to grow businesses. As an entrepreneur, Michel has grown a hospitality company with over 100 employees and tens of millions in yearly revenue. He is the founder of People First Culture philosophy, which is defined as an honest commitment from leaders to put their employees and customers at the core of their decision-making. He published a book with the same title that became a bestseller. Companies like Lush, McDonald's Canada, Ford Canada, Verizon Wireless, Alfa Romeo, Lexus, Illumina, Electronic Arts, and Blue Cross Blue Shield have called on Michel to work with them on their strategy or speak at their company events. His thought leadership has been included in publications such as Entrepreneur Magazine, Inc. Magazine, Time Magazine, Forbes, Digiday, and Yahoo Small Business Advisors. Michel, welcome to the show.
Curtis, it is my absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so let's get started. You know, you have a pretty juicy background, and I'm excited to get into it. When we talk about our past to turning our vision into reality, talk to us about what did your path look like?
I had a path that has taken many twists and turns, but I've always remained focused on what it is that I envision for my professional and my personal life, because they both work hand in hand. I started my career in an industry that might not immediately jump out to individuals as being the most glamorous, if you will. It was in junk removal. I'm based in Canada, and there's a very famous company called 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Oh, I've used
All right, fantastic, good to hear. And one summer, I was in business school, and I was playing basketball with my friend Naveed, and he was studying to get admitted into dental school. But that summer, he took up a job in the call center of 1-800-GOT-JUNK. And in 2007, and it was the year that they were voted as the best workplace in Canada. That's where their head office is, with franchises all throughout North America and Australia. And he told me about the company, and I was looking for change at the time. I'm not an academic, so I didn't do that well in university. So I went home after playing basketball with him that day, and I studied the company, and I came across that article of them being the best workplace in Canada. And I learned how they went from one entrepreneur in a pickup truck knocking on people's doors in his neighborhood, asking if there was things in their garage that they wanted to get rid of, and they would pay him to get rid of those things that they no longer wanted. And at the time, the company was doing $125 million a year in sales. And it's grown to be much larger than that today. But I really thought that, this is a place where perhaps I can work, earn an income, and learn about how a company grows. Because my alternative at the time was in business school, which I wasn't learning a lot. So I applied, and I got an interview, and thankfully I did well in the interview. I got hired in the call center, and that's where my career started in 2007. From there, I was still unclear on what the vision of my career looked like. I knew that I one day wanted to start a business of my own, but it was not clear what industry or what my expertise was going to be. But soon after I joined the company, I was introduced to another famous company, but this time based in Nevada, called Zappos.com. And they had grown from 1 million to 1 billion in 10 years. And I just thought that was, a staggering amount of growth. And they were getting a lot of media about their company, which was fueling that growth. But at the core of the story was just a constant communication of culture and customer experience. And their CEO or anybody that was interviewed from the company always pounded that drum of we are growing because of our company culture and our customer experience. So that was a pivotal moment in my career. I came back. The CEO of 1-800-GOT-JUNK had actually sent me to Nevada because I had brought it to his attention. And I said, have you heard of this company? They've grown so quickly, and they speak the same language as us here at 1-800-GOT-JUNK. So he sent me to Nevada to meet with some of their team members and listen to some phone calls in their call center just to really understand their culture and bring back some ideas. And they were very gracious with their time. So I came back to Vancouver with a lot of enthusiasm, and that was it for me, Curtis. At that moment, I knew what my career was going to look like in the sense of, what type of flag was I going to carry? What was that going to be about? There are many individuals that are experts in marketing and PR and finance and other great things. I was going to be the company culture person. And I soon realized that you cannot have a great customer experience if you do not have a customer-centric culture and high employee engagement. So those three topics have been the basis of my career: company culture, employee engagement, and customer experience. From an operational perspective, like what type of systems and processes can you build to make sure that your customers admire you, revere you, and your employees feel the same way? That's where the career started. And like I mentioned, it's taken a lot of twists and turns since then. You and I met and we had the pleasure of meeting in South Carolina. I've done a lot of keynote speaking on those topics. We worked with many different companies across many different industries. I remember the day, Curtis, when I got an email, somebody from Verizon Wireless, and they had asked me to come to work with them because one of their vice presidents read a blog post I had written. It's escaping me what the topic was about, but of course it had to do with culture, customers, or employees. But that's when my career started to really kind of cement itself. I had left 1-800-GOT-JUNK in 2012 after 5 years at the company. I believe that was my real world MBA. I saw a company grow tremendously during that 5-year period. And I had the opportunity to ask questions and see that growth firsthand. And that's something that I do today as an entrepreneur with hundreds of employees, and something that I share with anybody that will listen, is that we can't just be employers who pay our employees and pay them on time. Right? That legally we have to do those two things. What learning and development can we give them so that they can exceed their own expectations within our companies and grow within them, or they can leave the company and do something else. And that's the kind of the basis of the people first culture message is grow your team, grow your culture, and don't be scared if they leave one day, because
Wow.
it's a great testament to your brand, and it's akin to your alma mater in university. You maybe have a T-shirt or a hat from the university you went to, and we have a lot of pride where we earned our education from. Why can't we have the same sentiment for our companies? And that's the sentiment that I have out toward 1-800-GOT-JUNK today.
I really enjoy that story and how you navigated through your career and your vision. And what I really liked was your leader, your company leader, allowing you to go out and discover more and learn and bring back that learning. I mean, I think that's awesome.
It was. And to think that I was trusted to do that,
Yeah.
I came back to the company with this just so much enthusiasm. I felt a responsibility to care for the company more than just earning a paycheck and doing the bare minimum. I gave myself to the company. And I very much used that organization as a springboard to something else. I knew that I wasn't going to be there forever, and they were okay with that. And that was the first lesson that I had received in that, with kind of that message, is like, it's okay if you leave. Because in 2012, I ventured off on my own to keynote speak and to do some consulting work, which eventually led me to starting my own hospitality company with my business partners in 2016. And that was when I had kind of achieved part of the vision. Remember, I was in university, in business school, wanting to one day start a business. And it essentially took me 5 to 6 years to achieve the first business that I started, which was the consulting and the keynote speaking. And then the next one came in hospitality, where we had hundreds of employees and a lot of revenue. And I look back on my time very fondly at 1-800-GOT-JUNK, because they helped craft my vision with me. And I don't even think they knew that. They just gave me that springboard, as I mentioned, to achieve something else. And I feel the onus to do that for our team members. I have some individuals that want to grow within our company, but I also have some individuals that I know are going to do something else in 12 to 24 months. And I feel the responsibility to help them achieve their vision as well. That's not just good business, that's being a good human being. And we talk about humanity in our businesses, but I believe that we all have the opportunity to even increase that humanity within our businesses, so that it's not just about dollars and cents.
Nice. I love the humanity part. I mean, that's how I lead and manage as well. And, when I'm working with clients, I talk to them about working with the people, the customers, well, the employees first, and then customers, advisors. And so when you work with companies, I'm sure there's sort of a few common problems that you come across in their cultures and how they can fix them. Can you talk more about what those problems are and what do you advise them to do?
Yeah. So you and I, Curtis, speak the same language, and I'm certain this will probably resonate with you. I have seen every company, nearly every company, but let's just say 98% of companies have values, a mission, and vision. Right? We were taught that in business school.
Yep.
We've just been taught that by the media. But my concern is, how were those things crafted? Were they built because we read an Inc. magazine article one time and it said that we should have them within our businesses, and then we quickly did it in a day, and then it's just platitudes on a wall or on our website? Or were they well thought out? Were they really kind of investigated into? Are we happy with them? Do we have people that actually believe in them? So most companies have these things within their organization, but that's where I always start is, why do we come to work? How do we work? Right? Like, our core values is a description of how we work in our company. Our mission and our vision is like, where do we want to go? What do we want to be recognized for by the market? Right? Customers, employees, suppliers, investors, anybody that interacts with our brand. Most companies have that in place, but I wonder how many companies actually live and breathe what they have on their website and what they tell new employees or new customers. But aside from that, what I look for is is the organization interviewing employees that come into the company? Because if the desired outcome is we want to have a great customer experience because we want our customers to come back, they renew their contracts with us, purchase again, or maybe even purchase one more time every week. We can't do that without having a high-performing team that have bought into what we are trying to build, which is a successful business. And this isn't just for profit-driven organizations. This can go for the nonprofit sector as well. But what I find is that the interview process, Curtis, is very transactional in nature, right? Of course, we have heard the stories of companies like Google, which have a very robust interview process, but that's Google and not everybody is Google. But the interview process, whether you're a big company or a small company, is something that we can all continuously refine. But one thing I shared with you when we met in South Carolina, Curtis, and with the group I was speaking in front of, was I mandate that when we interview individuals, regardless of their department, regardless of their seniority, we will ask them 2 interview questions per core value that we have to really understand, is this individual going to fit within our culture? And we do that before we ask them any competency questions regarding the role that they are applying for. Because, for me, I like to welcome people into my business the same way that I welcome people into my personal life.
Nice.
I'm not, the relationship that my fiance and I have, it took time to get to know each other. We went on several walks. We went on some dates. We got, we had great conversation. We made sure our values aligned. And then we decided, yes, let's date. We need to take that same type of action to how we hire our team members, right? We can't just welcome people to the party that we don't know and trust, right? Like when my fiance and I have our wedding, we're not just going to invite anybody from the street to come to our wedding. We're going to be very selective on who we invite.
Right.
We have to behave the same way with our businesses, because ultimately, Curtis, I'm not in the restaurants every day, right? It's our team members who are. They're the ones building relationships with our customers. So that's where I always look first, is how do you interview? Now, maybe you have a great interview process today. What does that look like 3 to 6 months from today? Right? We have to constantly be evolving it and refining it so that it doesn't become stagnant.
Wow. Your advice is amazing. In fact, I have taken that advice and I've incorporated it into every interview process and company that I also advise. So, I think it's an amazing process, and your examples of the relationship piece, I think is spot on. So you have all this knowledge and you've had this approach around people first, and then it inspired you, I guess, to write a book, People First Culture. So talk about the book and what does it mean to you, and how do you cultivate the learnings from the book, with your clients?
I had no real intention of writing a book. I knew that I had some things to share that people were attracted to and they liked. And I'm happy that some of the lessons that I've shared with you, Curtis, have provided you value. Once I knew that I had enough learnings to share, I made the decision to package it up in a book rather than just post on a blog, let's say. But that was created because I had enough to share with people that I think could provide value. And I wanted to have people think differently about business. The subtitle of the book is, transitioning from profits to people, right? And sometimes people will read that book and think it's like, I'm a conscious capitalist. I do believe in earning a profit,
Right.
But it's how we go about earning that profit that might be a little different. And I wanted to serve as a paradigm shift for some individuals. And I'm thankful that people have read the book and they've said, this is great. This is what I've wanted to do. And they've taken some of those learnings and they've been able to bring it into their own business. So that was kind of why I wrote the book, and the feedback has been fantastic, and I've been very fortunate that individuals like yourself, Curtis, have told me that they have found value in some of the lessons.
Awesome. So when I go all the way back to you talking about your journey, and it's quite a story. One of the things when I'm either advising clients or people who are listening to this podcast, what people so often face is obstacles. Give me an example of an obstacle that you faced and in your vision, in the achievement of your vision, and how did you overcome it?
Staying focused. As I was developing my career, I knew what the vision was, but as I was, going along in the progress of my career, opportunities presented itself that would have had me deviate from the big vision. Potential business partners came to me with opportunities to do this and that. And I got distracted earlier in my career by doing those things, which ultimately took me away from the big vision of starting my own company, building a company culture that I would be proud of. And so just the obstacle was distraction. And how I got past that is just kind of by recalibrating myself at times. Every 3 months, I'll reserve at least a day to do some deep thinking by myself and ensure that I am still trending toward that big vision that I have. And my new business that I'm starting is part of that big vision.
I love it. I love the focus part. Many entrepreneurs that I work with, I always say that they chase the shiny, right? They're entrepreneurs, they're idea people, and you got to get them to focus on the one idea that is going to do well if you just build on it over time. So I appreciate that. And so now that you've achieved your vision and you're a visionaire, visionaires that I know, they don't stop dreaming. Mm-hmm. So why don't you talk to us about what visions you're currently pursuing?
I am working on a new business in the fast casual restaurant industry. The other restaurants that I own are in the full service restaurant industry. And I want to build an organization that has 1,000 stores and employs thousands of people around the world. I've been I am still, Curtis, a student of business. I revere and I really marvel at the individuals that have come before me that have created great companies like the Starbucks of the world. And I would like to be a part of that conversation. I would love for one day someone to listen to this podcast and aspire to achieve big things. Like I was inspired by the founder of 1-800-GOT-JUNK. If I can pave a path for individuals to learn and learn from my mistakes as well, that would make me feel good. That would be a purposeful career for me. Having thousands of employees around the world, ones that maybe email me one day, even if they live in a different region, and say, I love your company. Thank you for building this company. I'm learning so much and I'm taking this information. I'm going to start my own business one day. That is so fulfilling to me, Curtis. Look, the income, the finances, the profitability, that is good. I feel something toward that, right? But that feeling dissipates. If we have a strong quarter, I will celebrate maybe for 30 to 45 seconds, but it dissipates, right? Like I'm not driven by money, but I know that it's an outcome I want to achieve because I want to give my mother, my father, everything that they want. And money is freedom, but it's not what drives me. It's just an outcome. What drives me is the sentiment of that I hear from our employees and our customers and our communities about the brand that I'm going to build. So that is my next vision. And I hope you'll have me on your podcast again, anytime between now and 5 years. Hopefully in 5 years, I've built this company or we're on our way to building a company that has 1,000 stores and thousands of jobs. And I feel a responsibility to build jobs that pay well. If I can be a contributing factor to limiting the gap in income, the income inequality that I think North Americans are starting to feel right now, if I can contribute to that, that would make me feel very good, and that's that would be my purpose.
Awesome. So first of all, thank you for everything that you shared with us. There are a bunch of visionaries that's going to be listening to this, future visionaries. Give me one nugget that you want to leave with the listeners of this podcast.
Something I tell myself literally every day. Why not me? If it's been done before, you can do it as well. And I know that sounds fluffy. I know it sounds like a platitude, but really, why not me? Howard Schultz built Starbucks, a company I admire. Why can't I do something like that? Or maybe it's unrelated to your profession. Maybe it's something personal. Why not me? And there are moments of crisis that I have, Curtis, where as an entrepreneur, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
Like, this is really hard. And you second guess yourself. Just know that's part of the process. Just 2 weeks ago, my fiance said, maybe you should go for a walk and clear your mind. And I did. And I kept saying to myself, why not me? Why not me? Why not me? And that's what I would leave with everybody. Just know that you can do it as well if it's been done before. Now, if somebody asked me, hey, could you run faster than Usain Bolt? No, like genetically, I cannot do that. So I won't say why not me for that. But for something that is totally within your capability, why not me? Set your vision, put your head down, do some really good work, create great impact and build a great legacy for yourself.
I think that's awesome advice. I mean, we all get that imposter syndrome sometimes hitting us. And to your analogy, for me, it's dunking a basketball, right? I will never dunk a basketball unless you lower the rim. So listen, I want to thank you for joining me. I absolutely will have you on my podcast again. And anytime I get an opportunity when this pandemic is over and I'm in Canada, I'm going to look you up. So I really do appreciate you sharing with me and my audience all the golden jewels that you have. And so thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Curtis. And anybody listening, if you want to keep in touch with me, I've been blessed and cursed with this unique name. So I'm Michel Falcon everywhere online. You can find me pretty much anywhere.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.